Yeah. Let me ask you this. So this is a complex question. And I'll probably interrupt you a bunch. But I tried it I kind of came up with my cousin. So I named this BOPTMN. And partially Benjamin with Optimum mixed together. But trying to find what optimum is kind of my, what is that? It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But what would you say? So if I asked you what does an optimal day for Alex look like?
Oh, man.
And it's not an easy question, but and it depends on what your goals are. But what is a perfect you could say sitting on a beach drinking margaritas. Well, how many days is that going to work for you? And it's going to lead to a bad place.
Right.
So there's a balance, all the balance things that come in there. So what is an optimal day for you?
Yeah, that is a pretty complex question. I have such a varied kind of I don't have a lot of daily structure in my days. So every day is very different. Yesterday I was at the firehouse at 7:00 in the morning, worked all day, got off this morning, went home, had a nice breakfast, worked out in the afternoon, coached a couple of nights. Tomorrow I'm on a detail for the fire department again, and then I'm flying tomorrow night. So it's hard to kind of look at what my schedule is and what would be kind of ideal. But I mean, waking up, having a nice tall glass of water, and then a coffee after that, and then having a breakfast. Usually I like, eggs and sausage pretty well, some sort of omelet, and then just relaxing a little bit in the morning. And then I like to work out typically either the 9 or the 11:30, just because I like the 11:30 a little bit more because it pushes me right to lunch, and I like to fuel after I work out. Mm-hmm. And then probably in the afternoon, relaxing at the house or walking the dogs. And then in the evening, I get a kid, or one of my daughters is going into 7th grade, and the other one's going to be a sophomore in high school. So usually in the afternoons I'll pick them up, which is kind of nice to pick them up from school, and they always typically want to go get snacks, so I usually go get snacks with them.
Right.
And then in the evening, just kind of having a nice meal and enjoying the family for the evening, and then bed early, 8:30 probably. So if I could get to be that would be pretty optimum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know, huge dreams, right?
But so now you didn't. No, I don't think workaholic was the name you said, but you put too much work in your days.
Yeah.
But you didn't mention any work in there.
No.
Besides working out.
Right.
So does work not fit into the optimal?
No, I mean, not for my ideal day, I guess.
Right.
I mean, I love going to work. I really do. I love my job. When I'm at Bangor, I get to. I mean, my crew is pretty awesome. I have a good group of people that I work for, and
I would think saving a life would work into your optimal day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's super stressful though.
That's gonna be a pretty. I mean, I've had a couple little incidences here where I've helped some people.
Yeah.
And I'm floating for a week.
Yeah.
My feet aren't even touching the ground. I can't. I mean, is it just ho hum at this point? Because you.
And it's not ho hum. It's but it's so. I mean, at this point, it's. I don't want to say it's clinical, but it's right after it happens. So we had a code save, a person in cardiac arrest that we ended up bringing back a pulse with and were able to transport, and they survived the incident. And it was really good because we have on my crew, I have 3 paramedics, mm-hmm. Myself, my engine driver, and then my rescue paramedic. And then I have a basic EMT and then an advanced EMT. So there's a good mix of licensure levels there. And we hadn't worked a whole bunch of codes together at that point, but everything just fell into place. Everyone had a role. Everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody just worked super efficiently. And so the paramedic on the rescue was like, "Hey, can we get a already done? It's this. Hey, can we get a? It's right there. Like, hey, can we get a like? There's nothing for me to do anymore." I'm like, "That's optimum right there. Right. That's amazing." And so ended up loading the person, bringing them to the hospital and whatever. And there's high fives at the hospital and everything. And then we went back and we're like, "All right, so what went well with that code?" You know, and we went, "Okay, so we did this, this, and this, and this. Okay, what could we improve on?" Like, well, we could improve in these areas, right? We could have done this test. We could have called the hospital earlier. We could have done all this stuff. Okay, cool. So going forward, how can we implement these good changes while keeping all the good stuff that we did? Well, we could do this. Okay, perfect. Awesome. That's your job next time, right? And then, well, we could do this. Okay, good. That's your job next time. You know, so it's like, it's short-lived joy followed by a cold review of what went well, what didn't go well, and then how can we improve.
But that's even pretty cool that I mean, like we talked about before, when things go bad, they start snowballing the wrong way.
Yeah.
When things are going good in your workouts or whatever, they go the right way.
Yeah.
You guys are improving. I mean, as a team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so important to kind of go over those things with like an active or an after action kind of review of things, and to be able to kind of just step away from that and try to view it objectively and try to make improvements without anybody's ego getting bruised or whatever.
Right.
And really, like, we do like large scale ones after a big fire, and then I always end up doing a smaller scale one with just my smaller group of people, and be like, okay, so what did we do, and how can we improve? Right. So, because like, we can improve as a whole department, we can improve as an entire crew, and then we can improve as an engine company. And if we improve an engine company, the crew gets better. If we improve as a crew, the department gets better. So it's a big piece of things for me, as trying to get that going. But yeah, like work. I mean, work's great, but it's also, you know, stressful, and it's not
right.
It is what it is. It's work, right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't work, it'd be called fun. So, but I do have fun at work. So,
right.
It's a great time. Like, you could be wrong. Like, still love flipping the siren on and blowing the horn and rolling through town with the lights on, and, you know, getting on the scene and solving a problem. Is a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding.
And no two are the same. Yeah.
No.
The fire's unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty fun. It's like, you need to have a lot of reps to be able to start recognizing patterns and things. And but
even then, I would guess the patterns don't always hold true.
Yeah, like
lots of variables.
Yep. There's so many variables and things, right? Like the way we train, like we have a burn house over behind Fielder's Choice over here, and it's a single room, right, on a first floor. You know where the entrance and exit points are, right? You know where the windows are in the burn room. You know where the drain is, so you can do that all blind, right? And we put pallets and hay in there, and it's a concrete box with thermal paneling all over it, so that the concrete doesn't deteriorate. Right. And it's good to do hose line advancements and squirt some water on some fire and whatnot. But the correlation between that and an actual structure fire is very, very small. Because you're dealing with, now when you enter into a house, like is it like nice concrete floors?
Yes.
Finished concrete. So normal, like typical houses have wood floors, right? And depending on what's the support structure underneath and where the fire is, that might not necessarily be stable. Like, these are awesome. These are very stable floors. They're easy to move around. Right?
Yes.
Love coming into a house like this. Like, okay, I'm not going to fall through the floor now. This is awesome. Right? But, you know, you have like the manufactured truss systems that have a failure rate of like 7 or 8 minutes of fire impingement.
Wow.
And so our typical response time is 7 or 8 minutes. So if you have a bunch of those in there, and they've all been burning for a little bit, like that floor is now unstable, we don't know that until we go into there and start sounding the floor. And if you don't do a good job at that, you can fall through, right? And then your day gets got a whole lot worse. But just saying that because it's not the same exactly from the training ground to the fire ground.
Right.
So being able to figure out, what you didn't do so well the last time, and we can improve on that. Maybe we didn't sound the floor when we went into that place and we got lucky, or it just wasn't a factor. But the next place we have to do that,
right,
and try to improve that muscle memory to be able to do that every time and be a better crew. So
we had a little. So my wife and I, we have a sauna, which we haven't used it much in the summer, but all winter long we use a lot. Yeah. And we listen to this little podcast, or if we're in the car, it's stuff you should know. And it's just random kinds of things. But we were listening to one on drowning, and it's they're talking about, it's been called dry drowning. Apparently drowning's drowning. It doesn't.
Right.
But about this boy who had died like a day or two later after his parents thought he had a stomach flu. He had fallen in the water, taken in some water, but was fine afterwards. Later that night, got sick. They didn't think much about it and passed away. And we were telling, so Kaylin and Evan are both lifeguards at Swan Lake, and we were just talking to them about it, just telling them about the podcast we heard, and they didn't really know much about it. Well, yesterday, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, a little girl fell in the water, took on some water, came out, Kaylin comforted her, she was fine, but then took the dad aside and was like, okay, just in case, it's probably not, I don't want to freak you out, but if this kid,
right.
And Dee and I were high-fiving at the beach, like, we just saved a little girl.
Right, yeah.
And hopefully nothing like that happened, but what you do is pretty cool, and it's pretty awesome that you get to save people. And I know it gets a bit clinical, it sounds like, but yeah, for us unprofessionals, even a brushing, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome, though. Like, anytime you could do that, it's pretty cool.
It's like a little podcast in our sauna paid off.
Right? Yeah. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way. So that's really cool.